My beloved child, something has been pressing gently against the door of your heart, and tonight the meaning behind it is finally coming into view. Stay with me, because this message is not being told as a reason for fear, but as a story of love, memory, forgiveness, and the things families sometimes leave unfinished when time moves faster than their words. Archangel Michael stands in this message as a symbol of courage and protection, asking you not to run from what your heart has been quietly remembering. Don't look away now. There is someone from your family who has already passed beyond this life, someone whose memory may still appear unexpectedly, a face remembered while you are doing something ordinary, a familiar phrase returning to your mind, an old photograph suddenly feeling more meaningful than it did before. Perhaps you have wondered why certain memories refuse to disappear. Perhaps there are words you wish had been spoken, questions you wish had been answered, or one final conversation you would give anything to have again. But what comes next changes everything, because the deepest message in this story is not that you should chase signs or become afraid of every coincidence around you. The message is that love can leave unfinished sentences inside the living, and sometimes healing begins when you finally allow yourself to complete those sentences. Stay with me. Somewhere in the history of your family is a truth wrapped in silence. It may not be a dramatic secret. It may be something far more powerful. An apology that never reached you, gratitude that was never expressed, affection hidden behind a difficult personality, or a final wish that the family would stop carrying an old burden. This is where the story begins. Imagine an old room filled with morning light, a chair beside a window, a photograph resting quietly on a shelf. Nothing frightening. Nothing threatening. Only memory. In this spiritual narration, Archangel Michael places his hand over that photograph and says, "Look beyond what happened. Look at what remained." And what remained was love. Not perfect love. Not love without mistakes. Human love, the kind that sometimes fails to say what it means until there is no longer enough time. Don't skip, because there is another layer. The person you are remembering may have carried regret about something involving you or your family. They may have wanted peace between people who became distant. They may have wished someone would stop blaming themselves. They may have wanted you to understand that one painful chapter was never supposed to define the entire story. Your answer is closer than you think. Think about what becomes emotional when you remember them. Is it one particular conversation? One disagreement? One promise? One day you wish you could revisit? There may be your clue. Not supernatural proof, but the emotional doorway through which healing has been waiting. Something huge is waiting for you, because the revelation is not about discovering something outside yourself. It is about discovering what you have been carrying inside yourself for far too long. Maybe you thought you had moved forward. Maybe you became strong because life demanded strength from you. You smiled, worked, cared for others, handled responsibilities, and continued. Yet there remained one quiet corner inside you where a goodbye never completely happened. Stay till the end, because this message is going toward that corner now. Archangel Michael, as the guardian figure within this story, does not arrive carrying fear. He arrives carrying a key. And engraved upon that symbolic key is one word: release. Not forgetting. Not erasing. Release. There is a difference. Forgetting says the person no longer matters. Release says their memory matters enough that you no longer want pain to be the only way you remain connected to them. And that may be exactly what this loved one would have wanted you to understand. Don't look away now. Picture their face as you remember it during one of their better moments. Not the final chapter. Not the difficult day. Not the hospital room, the phone call, the farewell, or whatever ending your mind may repeatedly revisit. Go further back. Remember laughter. Remember an ordinary meal. Remember their voice calling someone's name. Remember a doorway they once stood in, a holiday, a journey, a small habit nobody else noticed. That ordinary memory contains something extraordinary, proof that a person's life was larger than the moment in which you lost them. What comes next changes everything. The symbolic message becomes clearer: do not remember me only through absence. Remember that I was here. There is enormous emotional power inside those words. Because grief can sometimes turn an entire lifetime into one final scene. But love asks you to reopen the whole book. Stay with me. There were pages before the goodbye. Hundreds of them. Thousands. And somewhere among those pages is the truth your heart needs now. Maybe this family member was not always able to communicate affection. Some generations were taught to survive rather than speak openly. They showed love through food placed on a table, through working long hours, through asking whether you had eaten, through repairing something without being asked, through quietly worrying when you were late, through saving small amounts of money, through repeating advice you once found annoying. Their language of love may have looked nothing like the words you wanted to hear. And now comes the emotional twist. What if the message your heart has been waiting for was hidden inside those ordinary actions all along? Don't skip. Because the symbolic voice of Archangel Michael says, look again. Look at what they did, not only what they failed to say. Look at the moments they protected someone quietly. Look at the sacrifices nobody applauded. Look at the mistakes they regretted but did not know how to repair. Look at their humanity. Something huge is waiting for you in that understanding. Perhaps the unfinished message is simply this: I loved you better than I knew how to explain. And if that sentence reaches somewhere deep inside you, stay with me, because the revelation is only beginning. There is another reason this message feels urgent, and it has nothing to do with a countdown or something frightening approaching you. It is urgent because life is moving now, and there may still be people around you with whom important words remain unspoken. This is where the mystery turns toward the living. The family member you remember cannot change yesterday, but their memory can change what you choose today. Your answer is closer than you think. Maybe their story is showing you what happens when pride lasts longer than a conversation should. Maybe their absence reminds you not to postpone tenderness. Maybe they once waited too long to apologize, and now their memory is teaching you to apologize sooner. Maybe they loved someone deeply but rarely said it, and now you understand the importance of saying what matters while people can still hear it. Stay till the end, because this is the once-in-a-lifetime revelation hidden inside the title. Perhaps the peace this person represents does not depend upon you solving a supernatural mystery. Perhaps the peace comes when the lesson of their life finally becomes a blessing inside yours. Imagine Archangel Michael opening a symbolic book containing generations of your family story. Page after page carries names, choices, celebrations, misunderstandings, sacrifices, departures, reconciliations. Then he reaches your page. It is unfinished. That matters. Don't look away now. Their chapter may have closed, but yours has not. You still have time to write differently. You still have time to forgive without pretending something never happened. You still have time to create boundaries without hatred. You still have time to say, I love you, without waiting for the perfect moment. You still have time to become the person who ends a pattern instead of handing it to another generation. What comes next changes everything, because the symbolic message is not, carry me. It is, carry forward what was good, and put down what was painful. Read that inside your heart again. Carry forward what was good. Put down what was painful. You do not honor someone by inheriting every wound they carried. You honor them by transforming what can be transformed. Stay with me. Maybe your family has carried silence for years. People avoiding certain subjects. People assuming instead of asking. People loving each other but expressing that love through worry, criticism, distance, or stubbornness. Then someone passes away, and suddenly everybody realizes how many conversations could have happened. That realization can hurt, but it can also awaken something. The emotional twist is that the person you miss may be teaching you more through their absence than they were ever able to explain through their presence. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. In the symbolic scene, Archangel Michael closes the family book and places a small light beside it. The light does not illuminate every page. It illuminates only yours. Why? Because your responsibility is not to rewrite the dead. Your responsibility is to decide what you do with the life still before you. And suddenly the mysterious message becomes remarkably simple: live. Live without constantly punishing yourself for what you did not know then. Live without believing one mistake erased every beautiful thing you shared. Live without turning regret into a permanent home. Live with enough courage to tell the people beside you what they mean before circumstances make the conversation impossible. Your answer is closer than you think. Perhaps you have privately wondered, did they know I loved them? Maybe that question has followed you longer than anyone realizes. Then consider everything between you, not merely the final words. Love is communicated across years. Through presence. Through returning. Through concern. Through arguments that happened because people mattered to each other. Through small gifts, shared meals, jokes, responsibilities, forgiveness, and memories. One imperfect goodbye cannot automatically cancel a lifetime of connection. Stay with me, because that sentence may be the doorway you needed. If your final conversation was ordinary, that does not mean your relationship was ordinary. If your final conversation was difficult, that does not mean your entire relationship was difficult. If there was no final conversation at all, that does not mean everything meaningful was left unsaid. Sometimes the life you shared already said more than one final sentence ever could. Don't look away now. Archangel Michael's symbolic shield appears in this story not against an outside enemy, but between you and unnecessary guilt. Every time guilt says, "You should have known," the shield answers, "You knew only what you knew then." Every time regret says, "You should have done more," wisdom asks, "Were you human, doing what you could inside circumstances you did not fully control?" Every time memory selects one painful scene, love opens 100 other scenes beside it. What comes next changes everything. There may be one memory you have avoided because it feels too emotional. But behind it may be another memory you forgot, something funny they said, a strange habit, a meal they loved, music they played, a story they repeated until everyone knew every word. Allow that memory to return too. Let grief become wider than sadness. Let it contain gratitude. Let it contain laughter without guilt. Let it contain appreciation that your paths crossed at all. Something huge is waiting for you, not an external prediction, but a different relationship with the past. And once the past changes meaning, the future begins feeling different too. Now the final layer begins to unfold, and this is the part you were meant to hear before leaving this message. Stay with me. Imagine that symbolic family member standing at a peaceful distance. Not as a literal claim about what happens beyond life, but as the voice your deepest loving memory of them might carry. If they could speak without pride, misunderstanding, illness, stress, age, family expectations, or all the complications that once stood between you, what would love itself say? Perhaps, stop worrying about whether I knew. I knew more than you think. Perhaps, do not make my absence the reason you stop enjoying your life. Perhaps, take care of yourself too. Perhaps. Bring the family closer where you can, but do not destroy yourself trying to control everyone. Perhaps, forgive me for what I could not understand. Perhaps, forgive yourself for being human. Don't skip. Because one sentence rises above all the others, you are allowed to move forward. There it is. The revelation that changes the entire message. Moving forward is not leaving someone behind. Healing is not betrayal. Smiling again does not erase them. Building new memories does not replace old ones. Experiencing joy does not mean the person mattered less. Your answer is closer than you think. The love you shared does not require you to remain emotionally frozen at the moment of loss. If anything, meaningful love should expand your life, not permanently shrink it. Archangel Michael now stands in the symbolic doorway between yesterday and tomorrow. Behind you are photographs, voices, old rooms, family gatherings, things you wish you had said, things you wish you had heard. Ahead of you are days nobody has lived yet. And the question is not whether you must choose between them. You can carry memory forward without carrying every ounce of pain. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you in this final image. The symbolic key from the beginning is still in your hand. Remember the word engraved upon it: release. You place that key into a door you have been afraid to open, expecting something overwhelming on the other side. But when the door opens, there is no frightening revelation waiting there. There is morning. There is space. There is permission to breathe. There is a future. And suddenly you understand why the message needed to reach you. The unfinished words were never meant to trap you in yesterday. They were meant to free you for tomorrow. Don't look away now. There may be someone alive today who needs to hear what you once wished you had said sooner. Tell them while you can. There may be an old disagreement that deserves perspective. There may be someone you cannot reconcile with, and in that case peace may mean releasing the need to force an outcome. There may be a dream you abandoned during a season of grief. Perhaps it is time to look at it again. There may be happiness you have unconsciously denied yourself because part of you thought being happy meant forgetting. It does not. What comes next changes everything. Your healing can become part of the legacy of the person you remember. Their story can continue through the kindness you learned from them, the wisdom you gained from their mistakes, the traditions you preserve, the laughter you remember, the values you choose, and the love you give differently because you now understand how precious time is. This is where the story begins, not theirs, but yours after understanding theirs. Stay with me for these final moments. Imagine the photograph from the beginning once more. At first it carried heaviness. Now look again. Same photograph. Same face. Same history. But something inside you has shifted. Instead of asking only, "Why did you leave?" another question becomes possible: "What did your life teach me?" And perhaps the answer comes immediately. Courage. Patience. Humor. Persistence. Family. Independence. Compassion. Maybe even the lesson of what not to repeat. All of it can become wisdom. Your answer is closer than you think. The person you miss does not have to be remembered as an unfinished tragedy. Their memory can become a quiet teacher. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is the realization that the message you wanted from them may now become a message you give yourself: I forgive what can be forgiven. I release what cannot be changed. I keep the love. I keep the lessons. I allow myself to live. Stay till the end of this thought, because this is the emotional turn everything has been leading toward. Perhaps the peace you wanted to give them was also peace you needed to give yourself. Perhaps the unfinished goodbye was not asking for another goodbye at all. Perhaps it was asking for a new beginning. Archangel Michael lowers the symbolic shield. The old family book closes gently. The light remains. And the final message is not urgent because something terrible will happen if you leave. It is urgent because another beautiful day of your life should not be surrendered unnecessarily to yesterday. Keep the memories that warm you. Learn from the memories that hurt. Speak love while there is time. Choose peace where peace is possible. And whenever that person's memory suddenly returns, you do not have to wonder whether something frightening is calling you. Sometimes memory returns because love mattered. Sometimes the heart revisits people because they help shape who we became. And sometimes the greatest way to honor someone who is gone is to become fully present with those who are still here. Don't look away now. The door is open. The morning is waiting. The past has spoken through its lessons, and your future is asking for an answer. What comes next changes everything, because from this moment forward, you do not have to carry their memory as a weight. You can carry it as a light.